Jeffrey doesn't track his self-improvement habits, and so he makes no progress because he has nothing to hold him accountable and nothing in his face which tells him that he's been slacking. But Adonis consistently tracks his habits every single day, and he makes so much progress because he has the accountability of a habit tracker to make sure that he keeps moving forward on the right track. So, first things first, I've got to clear this up. I have been inspired by Hamza, and one thing that really helped me was Jeffrey and Adonis. So I've also taken that in hopes that it also helps you, because I want to be able to change your life just like Hamza changed mine. So, with that being said, I don't really have any story to tell about habit tracking besides the fact that I don't know where I'd be without habit tracking, to be honest. Like, that's probably the story. I genuinely wouldn't know where I'd be, because without habit tracking, I would have fell off of self-improvement a long time ago, because I just wouldn't have held myself accountable. I wouldn't have looked at the tick boxes because there were none. So I wouldn't even know the last time I would have exercised or meditated. I'd have just done it when I felt like it. I would have just done it when I thought it's time to do it. But with a habit tracker, it's constantly in your face all the time, telling you when the last time you done it, do it today, do it tomorrow, etc., etc. It just holds you accountable. It's just such a great way to make progress. I don't think you... For most people, I really feel like they wouldn't make progress if they didn't have a habit tracker in front of them. So in this noob's guide to self-improvement, I'm going to teach you how to build a habit tracker. I'm going to do it on a whiteboard because I just can't be bothered getting paper, to be honest. But you do it on paper, the same thing applies. So I'll try and draw it while showing it, but if I can't do that, you're just going to have to copy the end thing, but you shouldn't have to. So we'll just start with the habit tracker right now. So the first thing I want you to do is on your piece of paper, hold on, I'll show you. Put down the date. So obviously you don't have to write date at the top, but I'm going to. You might want to put the month, when you're watching this video and making your habit tracker. By the way, get a pen and paper and do this with me, because it's just much better to follow along with me rather than look at the end result and then try and copy the end result. So, for example, let me just restart this. Let's put down the month. So at the time of recording, it is January. So I will put January like this. And then, for example, for me, it's January 2nd, 2024. So I put 2 right there to say that it's the 2nd. Then 3, then 4, 5, 6, and then so on. And let's say you're midway through the month and you're writing down on this habit tracker. Let's say, for example, it crosses over the month. You might as well just put on the same habit tracker February, because you might as well put it all on one page if you can. So that's the date, and now we just draw a line and make that a column. Sweet. It's almost done basically. Now all you got to do here is put down the habits. So this might be exercise for one habit, reading for the second habit, and journaling for the third habit. Journaling. My brain just farted. I've just spelled journaling wrong, but it really does not matter. Now, this isn't super neat. The presentation of it doesn't really matter as long as it just does the job. But I know a lot of people care about presentation. I do as well. So I just like having things looking nice, but obviously this doesn't really look the best. And now all you got to do is when you do the habit, tick it off. So like, for example, I've exercised today, so I tick that off. I've read today, so I'll tick that off. And I've not journaled today, so I leave that blank until I have journaled, and then I tick it off like that. And there'll be some days where you don't hit all the habits. And this is the most important part, because accountability doesn't feel nice. I'll be honest, usually accountability, holding yourself accountable, it doesn't actually feel that comfortable to go through. So, on your habit tracker, let's say tomorrow I exercised and I journaled, but I didn't read, and then I didn't do that for 2 days. So I just didn't read for 2 days. Ignore that deformed tick, but now we see that I've got 2 days where I haven't read, and now I'm going to feel horrible because for the past 2 days I haven't read and it's there in my face. And I'll feel hurt and uncomfortable, and it'll feel somewhat painful to see that. So what do you think I'm going to do on the 4th of January? I'm going to make sure I get that tick. And the reason I get that tick on the 4th is because for the past 2 days I haven't done it and I feel bad about it. Now obviously, like, when you're starting out self-improvement, this might not even be 2 days, it might be an entire week. But you got to make sure that you stay with the habit tracker. Don't delete it. Don't eliminate it. Don't, like, imagine this was a piece of paper. Don't, like, crunch this up and throw it in the bin and make a new one. The whole point of the habit tracker, even though the ticks feel nice, the beauty of the habit tracker, where the habit tracker really shines, is when you don't tick it. Because the discomfort and the pain of not ticking it will mean that in the future you're more likely to tick it, because you won't want to feel that same pain. It's in psychology. I'm doing A-level psychology in school right now, and one of the things it talks about is negative reinforcement, where I think I'm bro science in here. Well, I've got a PhD in bro science, so you can still trust me. I think it's when you're avoiding. No, wait. You're performing a certain behavior because you want to avoid a certain experience. So, say for example, in the habit tracker's case, you will actually tick reading because, oh no, you'll actually read because you want to avoid the pain of seeing another day of the habit tracker unticked. Does that make sense? So, basically, you'll do it because you don't want to feel the pain of seeing it unticked. And that's where it really shines, because then you're pretty much training your brain to feel pain when you don't do the good habits. You train your brain to feel bad when you don't do the good habits. And let's say, for example, I just had a thought then. Let's just like line this off. Let's say on the habit tracker, you could also add for bad habits, no video games. Hold on, I'm just writing it. My handwriting's not the best because I'm just holding it up mid-air, so that looks horrible. But let's say like 7th, boom, boom. If you've done no video games that day, you could, that's not even a tick, that's just a line. But you could tick it off. And so you just get creative, basically, with the habit tracker. Just add the habits that you want to do. Also add the habits that you don't want to do. And then, like, the way I would do it, so it makes sense with the tick, because it wouldn't make sense with my brain, is like put no video games, no PMO, no Netflix or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Rather than like Netflix, like video games, and then you tick it because it's like, then it would just confuse me. But like, if you're fine with that, go ahead. I'm just thinking about what more could I talk about with a habit tracker, because habit tracking is so important, bro. Like, I'm actually kind of excited to talk about this, because habit tracking is, no matter what you hear, like when it's self-improvement and people are like, oh yeah, like do this habit, do that habit. Honestly, if you don't have it, you can still do it without adding it to the habit tracker, and I've done that before. But when you add it to the habit tracker, it's just a whole different level because now it's in your face. Okay, how long have I been doing this thing? It's just, once you start getting a habit tracker, you'll understand the beauty of it just as much as I do. And then you'll be going to people and be like, just get a habit tracker, bro. That's all you need. I'm going to start talking about online habit trackers because, like, we've pretty much done everything we need to with physical ones. I actually prefer online habit trackers, and I know some people don't. So if you like the physical one, go ahead. There's nothing wrong with it. But me personally, I just like the online ones more. So I use an app. I'm not affiliated with it, but it's called Loop Habit Tracker. That's on Android, and I think the iPhone equivalent is just titled Habits. So you can go in the App Store and find that. The reason I like that is because it's so straightforward to add habits, and you can add different types of habits. So say for example, I'll just show you on the whiteboard, but for meditation on a online one, it can also, I mean, you could do this on a physical one obviously, but it's like, for example, you could do a yes or no, which is like a tick or a cross, and then you could also do measurable, which is like meditation for 20 minutes, for example. And that's sweet. And then you can also do it by like week or month, and then you can also track a bunch of stats on there. So like you'll be able to see like how many days you hit it in the month, like percentages and stuff, and just like analytical stuff. So if you're kind of like me, where you like looking at the data of like what you've done, sometimes looking at the streaks of what you've done and whatnot, even though streaks aren't really the best thing, but whatever, whole different topic. Yeah, I just prefer online ones because as well, if you get a thought to add something, let's say on this whiteboard, we've already got three habits up here, and boom, every like the whole space is covered up. But when it's online, you literally just press add another one, and you've added another one immediately. Sweet, amazing. Do you know what I mean? So it's just a lot. I just prefer online ones. I don't want to like yap on about online versus thingy. Don't even stress too much about it. Just start habit tracking no matter what. I also prefer like online ones slash on my phone because I'm on my phone a lot more than I'm using a physical habit tracker, and a plus, I just wouldn't want to take up space. Like like on a piece of paper, once you've filled up the entire piece of paper, you gotta throw it away. But with one which is an app, as long as you keep the app downloaded, you can always look back on like how long you've been doing it for the year. So that's why I prefer it. How long have I been talking? 13 minutes. I think I need to wrap it up here, but I also feel like I have so much more to say. If you're using a physical one, stick it up on the wall or even on your door, just somewhere where you're always going to see it, because you want the habit tracker in your face at all times, or as many times as possible rather, because like yeah, it's nice if you make the habit tracker, but if you hide it away in some like dungeon part of your room, then you're never going to see it, and then obviously you're not going to tick it because it's like it's not even in your face. So you want it to be in your face. You want it to literally scream out at you, you've not done this habit today. I need to be ticked off. And if you're on using an app on your phone, put it on the home screen. So like the app is always there. So when you just first thing unlock your phone, boom, you can just like even mindlessly click on the app and look at, okay, what habits have I tracked today? And you almost want to make it a habit of checking your habit tracker. That's sick. Make a habit of checking your habit tracker, because that way you'll immediately start ticking off more habits. But you once again, be okay with there not being ticks everywhere. It's normal when you're starting out. You're not gonna tick every day, but you got to be okay with that and understand when there aren't ticks, I'm supposed to feel bad, and when I feel bad, that's actually a good thing, because then I will tick it in the future. So, with that being said, go and make your habit tracker right now, or if you've made it alongside with me, go and stick it up on your wall or go and download one of the apps, because habit tracking is beautiful. That's pretty much the end of this noob series, I think. A noob's guide to self improvement. But I might add more in the future. Anyway, safe.